Howdy folks, Doc here with Last Best Tool. And yesterday I posted a video that included this snap-on wobble bit. And what this is a bit that you drop into a magnetic holder, just a screwdriver bit. And it has a base here very similar to snap-on's wobble extensions. You can see that here. And what it does is allow the bit to basically articulate off-center. I don't know how many degrees. I tried to measure it and I was getting around 12 degrees, but I found it depends on a couple of things. These snap-ons, they list at 16 degrees off-center. Sometimes I get what seemed like 15, sometimes 10, but I also noticed something. If you notice this gap here, you see how far up the bit sticks outside this bit holder, and this is a snap-on bit holder. If I compare that, how about to this PB Swiss? That sticks out the furthest. Here's a Weehaw. That one drops quite a ways in. You can see that. Here's a Vera. That one seemed to go in the most. Anyway, so it kind of depends a little bit on that. And what I also discovered is it kind of depends on how much force you want to put on it before you can see how it kind of pops there as I rotate it. So if you're doing it by hand or by drill or long extension, just kind of affects the control a little bit as well. But overall, what you're looking at, I've got a little test bed here, is I can turn this at quite the angle and still have no trouble with it. So you can see as I move this thing around, makes a big difference. Keeping it aligned doesn't seem to be a problem. Let me show you with the drill here. I'll put it on my Milwaukee, and I'm using a snap-on bit holder. But you can see it kind of looks broken, doesn't it? Like a broken bit. Let's give it a little more juice here. Watch out. Oops. It pops out. If you give it a goose. So the more off-center it is, the more bouncy it is. So it can be a solution, but it also can be a little rough to handle at high speed. So I'd recommend, running it a little bit slow if you are pushing it to the limit of the angle. Oops, try this again here. That's pretty cool. That's a ways off center. I don't know how much room it's going to buy you. So if we had a really confined space, you can kind of see I've got it on a little snap-on stubby here. Move these guys over. You can kind of see there's quite a bit of articulation. That's going to buy you a full, amount of knuckles, the ability to grab this thing. That's my articulation. So I'm over here screwing it center and then over here. So that's pretty good. I imagine though, you might beat up on it a little bit more than other bits, just if it comes out more often. But overall, I'm impressed. Now these come in 1, 2, and 3 Phillips for $10 plus or minus. a piece. And then for about $11.50 you can get Torx bits, and they come in 8 through 40 of the main sizes. So the Torx bits, I want to try one of those. I get that to focus in on it. I'll move it back here. But anyway, so far this bit, you know, for the money and the capabilities, really seems to be a winner. I have had articulating connectors. They're usually kind of hokey. I had a DeWalt that kept snapping back to center, and it had a release collar. I mean, that was one of the worst things I've ever owned, because you kept having to push the release collar down in order to let it articulate. But once it articulated, and if it happened to go straight, the release collar would snap up and lock it back into position. So it was really hard to use, especially because if you took it out of the screw, it would immediately center itself and lock. So you were constantly double-handing it, trying to keep it going. But anyway, this is a neat little solution. So good for Snap-on for bringing these out. I don't know how long they've been out, but I'm certainly going to get some more of them. I did notice you do have a smaller platform right here. Oh, by the way, this particular one is the SDMW222A. I'll put this in both the title and the description below. But anyway, it's a solid little performer, and what I was saying is I've noticed the magnetic attachment isn't quite as strong because some of the base is missing. You can see that where the magnet can grab, you're dealing with about half the surface area. So you do need a pretty good magnet. So if you've got a cheap housing or a cheap bit driver or something, then there's a chance it won't hold as tight and you'll be popping it out. But I can definitely feel a difference. But I guess that's what we pay for, you know, in convenience. Anyway, so there's my update on this pretty cool little tool. This is the Snap-on No. 2 Phillips 1/4-inch hex shank wobble bit from Snap-on. And with that, Doc out.